Hey, hey, hey. Hey, Star family, space friends. How is everybody today on this lovely Sunday? I hope it's lovely. Hope it's early for a lot of you, so I hope it's starting off all right, and hope things are peaceful and healthy for you. So it looks like there's only a few of us here today. 10 of us. Wow, that's very low. Well, in that case, we can maybe do some personal readings. I don't think the chat will probably be too active today, so I normally wouldn't do this, but if you want a personal reading or if you want something specific in your chart, go ahead and put your birth details in the chat box, and I'll go ahead and pull up your chart and tell you what I see. If you do have a question specifically, that would help guide things. Otherwise, I'll give you what I normally do, which is a life path reading, taking a look at your overall life energy. I'll need the birth date along with the time of birth, preferably, and the location as well. And this will give the rest of you a sort of look at how one might normally read a chart, or just the general process that I give. All right, so let me just go through the chat. Welcome everybody, and then we'll get started. Margaret, thanks for moderating. Everyone give a shout out to Margaret. Erica, great to see you. Erica says, hello, star friends, keeping cool in the summer heat. Weird dream scenarios, trying not to think about my past wounds too much and releasing them. Drawing and esoteric studies on life's menu. Well, great to hear. It sounds like things are peaceful and healthy for you there, Erica. Thanks for sharing. In terms of the dreams, yeah, I mean, if you're still feeling those dreams being strong, that's more than likely Saturn now and Neptune in that conjunction. So I would say this is certainly collective for everybody. It's all in Pisces. This is the dream constellation. The dream planet is Neptune, and Saturn structuring that. So for those maybe having vivid dreams, Saturn could be maybe the ruler of your 12th house, maybe very strong in your chart, maybe you're Capricorn rising, something that signifies you being represented strongly by Saturn really adds to that energy if that's the case. Because technically, Saturn wouldn't be playing that personally, but if any of you are feeling a lot of that watery Pisces, spiritual, intuitive, dreamlike energy, Saturn might be your ruler, might be your sun's ruler, maybe your sun in Capricorn, things like this. And so if that's the case, then Saturn will be in Pisces for still at least the next couple years. And it does favor that kind of development. And I say that because now we have officially the North Node that's left Pisces, so it's likely not that influence anymore collectively. Chiron's still finishing Pisces, but Chiron's a very minor planet in terms of how we feel it, unless maybe you're a Fucus rising or something like this, but this would be something you've been experiencing for over a decade now, actually. So if it's been lately, it could be that Saturn, and we could see that for the next few years though. So channeling that is always a good way of working with it. Aquarius Sky Cloud, great to see you. Evening from Northumberland. Creative Guru, howdy from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Staying inside, staying cool here as well. Yeah, me as well. Very hot where I am here in Spain, and just was having a fan blowing, but have all the windows open, trying to stay as cool as possible. I will say I do prefer the heat over the cold, though. If it gets too cold, I'm not a very happy person unless I have a heater next to me. But I know everyone's a little different. My sister, for example, loves the cold. She loves the bundling up kind of a thing. Creative Guru, howdy from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Oh, yep, read that one already. Manda, happy Sunday, Athen and everyone. Happy Sunday, Manda. Margaret says, enjoying the Cancer energy and excited for my birthday on the 2nd. That's right. Happy birthday, Margaret. I wish you the very best. And what is that? The 2nd is this coming Saturday. Well, that's cool. You get to have a birthday on a weekend. That's always nice. Hope you get to do something nice there that weekend. Everyone give a big shout out to Margaret for her birthday coming up. Creative Guru, been playing with learning watercolor lately. It's been a lot of fun. Well, that's great to hear. I really enjoyed when I was playing around with painting a little bit. By no means am I professional or even good at it, but it's so therapeutic. It's so great to just express on a canvas like that. I'm really happy you're able to do that there. All right, so the first birth details we have here is Anna. So no time, that's okay. What we'll do is we will take a look at First, what we normally do, kind of like a learning lesson here, what we normally do when we don't have birth time. So let's see, let me move Prometheus over just a little bit here. And let me go ahead and let me just fix something here real quick. It's gonna put it to me here for a second. Or is it this one? There we go. It's gonna put it to me here for a second so I can get things sorted here. Okay. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so let's go do a few of these. Looks like quite a few of you put your birth details. So let's do a kind of a shotgun style. We'll kind of do this quick. We'll go through it. Hopefully I can give you some tidbits here. All right, so Anna, we've got the 25th of July. All right, well, happy birthday to you as well. Looks like it was just your birthday a couple days ago, so happy birthday, Anna. We've got July 25th, 1979. We don't know the time, so I like to put just midday because we'll be using the sun anyways, so we can capture the midpoint there. And I'm not going to try to pronounce that. Krasnoya, Russia. Is that right? 25th of July, 1979. Krasnoyarka, Russia. Okay. We won't save your chart there. Normally I would save it if it's a client. Won't save yours here, Anna. Okay, so let's go ahead and apply this to the sun. So we're going to put the sun on the ascendant. That's what I like to do for unknown times. Because we won't know the houses without the time. And so at least this way we have some houses to play around with. Okay, so we have sun in Cancer. We've got moon in Leo. You're born during a new moon. And what I really like to focus on here is on the north and south nodes. So your life path, Anna, is coming from a deeper world. Past life maybe where you were involved with the deeper world, uncovering deep things, research, hidden stuff, esoteric, the occult, much like a lot of the deeper stuff we're doing here today. But this life really wants you to move more into that physical and material world, and that's your north node here in the second house with Saturn and Leo. So to really cultivate the more natural and physical aspects of things, you know, your more material values. Now, material values can mean money and resources, but it also means connecting more to earth and nature. Essentially, because the past life was so deep and non-material is more about the, you know, emotional values, deeper values. This life is really wanting you to put more energy into that self-reliance and material values, you know, and cultivating those inner resources. So this is the pattern I like to use for the life path. Basically, the past life, what we were saying for Anna, is the deeper world. For all of us, our south node represents our past life. And so this is very much like the roots of a tree. Our past life, it's important that we're involved in that in everything we do. So in everything, Anna, and everything you do, yes, it needs to be involving the deeper world and you being rooted in that. But just like the roots of the tree, the tree doesn't, if you notice what the tree does not try to put a lot of energy into its roots. The roots are really the yin part of the tree, the part of the tree that's receiving from life. And you know, the tree doesn't, you know, the roots don't try to drill through hard rock or hard places. You know, they go to the areas of least resistance. They grow effortlessly and they conserve energy. This is how we want to work with our past life. Anna, if you take everything in your life and let's say you draw a column, and I'll explain this for all of you. I'm actually going to do the same technique for all of you here who put your birth details in. So the past life, you'll know, well, in everything in your life, you'll notice it's either pulling you towards the past life or pushing you towards the future life. And I do recommend everyone, draw 2 columns or get a spreadsheet out. On the top left column, write past life. On the top right column, write future life. And you'll see that everything in your life is either pulling you towards the past life or pushing you towards the future life. And so, Anna, everything that's showing up in your life, that's again pulling you into that deeper world, even interdependent world, relying on others on you, more of the non-physical values, the deeper stuff, psychology, healing, all this. All those things in your life list on the left side of this column. That's what the chart is suggesting to approach with yin, to approach in a yin way, which is generally more effortless, right? Putting not effort into that area, but more effortlessness, more allowing it to happen automatically, letting life take more control, right? This is yin, receiving from life here. Very difficult to do, but that's how we want to work with it. The worst thing we can do is put effort in our past life. That's where we feel the most stuck and stagnant. So putting effort on the stuff on the left side of the column usually represents the most stuck and stagnant periods of our lives. So we want to be effortless about the past life, everything on the left column. And then on the right column for you, Anna, is the self-reliance in the material world. So everything in your life that's pushing you towards building of your inner and outer resources, your inner and outer resources. All of this inner and material stuff, and getting more into the physical worlds, even earth, nature, aesthetics, design, beauty, taste, food, nutrition, all that in your life, the tangible, the self-reliant stuff, list on the right. And that's the stuff that needs to be put with effort. This is the top of the tree, is our future life. And this is where the tree puts 95% of its energy, right? On growing the trunk, on the leaves with the seasons, and of course the very energetic fruit that the tree produces, right? So this is what we would say is the yang part of the tree. The tree puts effort and energy, and a lot of energy. And this is symbolic for us needing to put effort on the future life. Now the future life, this whole, for you, Anna, self-reliance, material values, it's always going to be, for all of us, it's always a process. It's about the process, not the destination. And we never get to some end point with it, right? So it's really about learning, growing, making mistakes. We were talking about painting earlier with Creative Guru, and this is our Creative Guru. That's a cool name. This is how we can approach our future life, like an empty canvas. The future life is an empty canvas that life has handed you to paint whatever you want regarding, for Anna, self-reliance in the material world. And just like in an empty canvas, we question ourselves, we question what we're going to paint, we're not sure where to start. This is all very common things about our future life, our North Node. And, it's supposed to be this really process of exploration. But the beauty is that there's no wrong answer. There's really nothing wrong you can do if you're moving your life with effort towards self-reliance and the material values. And I believe all efforts towards that direction all lead to the same place anyways, which is awesome. So yin on the past life, yang on the future life, easier said than done, but really the most important part of the chart by far. Basically what that represents is us living our healthy and happy life. According to the chart, and I've seen this 99% of the time, if we're living happily, we're living clearly, we have clarity, we have direction, we see movement, it's because we're putting yang on the future life, the North Node, and yin on the past life, South Node. This is what the healthy path looks like. If we do the swap of that, that's where we face our greatest life challenges. So Anna, this isn't your exact life path placement. This is your sun chart. It would be, of course, way more accurate to have your actual time of birth, but I still think it's going to be quite helpful for you, okay? Let's go and do another one. And now that we have the structure, we know how to go about reading the North and South nodes, the life path. Let's go ahead and do Creative Guru. So I'll just put Creative Creative. And that's going to be the 24th of December. (1968), 1338, and that's in Dallas. So we have 24th of December 1968, 1336, not 38, in Dallas. Okay. So with exact birth time, we get more specific. So creative, your past life with your South Node in Virgo in the 6th, next to Uranus and Jupiter. This would be a past life where you probably did a lot of work, okay? Very busy, very skillful, okay? The painting would be more of your future life, I think, as we'll see. This would be more like, you know, menial tasks, your work, day-to-day stuff, laborious work perhaps, putting a lot of work on yourself. So self-reliance, personal development, self-improvement. You know, this idea of putting a lot of, trying to achieve a sense of perfection, either a sense of perfection with yourself or your environment or your work or your service. This is very innovative. You challenge the status quo with a lot of this. It was probably very teaching or abstract, bigger picture stuff. But this life wants you to move in the opposite. And this is towards the ethers, what I call the ethers. So not so much structure like your past life, but more towards finding peace, more towards letting go, more towards doing things because it's soul fulfilling. You all hear me say that a lot, you know, soul fulfillment. This is very much the case for you, creative. Doing things because it's soul fulfilling, soul meaningful, helps you become more in a state of presence. This is what your future life path is. So we need both. Again, draw the column. On the left side for you, creative, is structure, work, service, all that stuff, perfection, all that. On the right, letting go, finding more peace, doing things because it's soul fulfilling, all that stuff. And your healthy path is basically one where you're still rooted in the doing, but not putting effort into it. Everything doing and work should happen effortlessly, and thus allowing you to then put effort towards the non-physical. What's important to you on a soul level, maybe spiritual, maybe creative, maybe intuitive. All right, that's really cool. Your name's creative. It's two words I use a lot for Pisces in the 12th house, like you have your North Node here, creative and intuitive. So that's where it needs the effort, on that side. All right, we'll just do maybe a couple more here. So I'll go down the list. Don't watch. We've got September 5th. (1985). 5:30 a.m. And that's in Rockville, Maryland. So again, I'm only going to do two more, but you know, as you can see, you can do this for your own chart. We're looking at the North Node and the South Nodes, and we're analyzing them based on the houses. We have all these materials on the website in terms of what all the house placements mean. All right, let me make sure I have this right. Oh no, it's the 5th of July. That's not right. September. Fifth of September, 1985, 5:30 in the a.m., Rockville, Maryland. Okay, so don't watch. Your past life, very practical left brain. So your life path is that of developing perspective in the mind and sharing and communication. So your South Node's in the 3rd, quite close to Pluto and Saturn and Virgo. In some ways, you'll see a lot of the parallels that we talked about with creative. But here, your past life, very left brain, You had everything known. You formed very conceptual knowledge about information in life. You maybe were into things like engineering or writing, language, mathematical, practical life stuff. Maybe also involved a lot with trading and exchanging with others. Maybe a lot of themes around peers, neighbors, and siblings. This kind of a interactive life. Left brain, practical life. So this life wants you to get more into your right brain. That's the right side of the two columns, to put effort into expanding your mental and literal horizons. This could be through travel, through adventure, not just travel physically, but also travel of the mind, higher states of consciousness, channeling things from higher realms, getting into philosophy, things like astrology that are higher in nature, and playing around more in the right brain, which is the more creative but much more in the abstract world. All right. So the way I like to communicate this is that in a past life, it was all about going from infinity to zero. So focalizing, making things finite, conceptual, in boxes, categorized. But this life wants you to do the opposite, from zero to infinity, to expand your perspective on life, to share your perspective with others. You'll find a lot of benefit from not only expanding your own perspective on life and getting into these more expansive things like travel, expand your mind, philosophy, expand your mind, astrology, all this, but also to share your perspective with others. So maybe to get into more either teaching or publishing or podcasting or sharing, kind of roles, to really focus on your perspective with things. So in everything in your life, be rooted in the practical, the conceptual, but making peace with that, being grateful for that, however it shows up, left brain, knowledge, information, and putting more of that effort towards expanding your mental and literal horizons. Aya, great to see you. Hi, Athen. Greetings from cold South Africa. That's right. You all are in the winter time over there, so hope you're staying warm there, Aya. I think it does. Yeah, it does get pretty cold there. I don't really think about that. Every time I think about South Africa, I always think it's warm, but that's pretty far south. I know you guys must get some pretty chilly winters there. Christine Yan, Grand Day, Athen. All right, so so this is the last one we'll do. So this is for Christine. All right, let me make sure I have this correct. So I have the 31st of July, a lot of July birthdays. Happy birthday, Christine. Wow, looks like we have a lot of birthday folks in here today, even birthday weeks. You and Margaret have your birthday this week. All right, cool. Happy birthday to you, Christine. So we have the 31st of July, 1948 at 11:32 a.m. in Seattle. Okay. All right, so Christine, your south node's in the first house in Virgo. Your north node is in the seventh house in Aries. So here we would say that you had a past life that was very independent, okay? You didn't have to do all the relational one-to-one stuff that this life has really been pushing you to do. So you were fine just doing your own independent thing. You're probably very autonomous and independent with your work. And in the past life, you had known who you are and what you want. Right? So there was a lot of this clarity of self, even self-assurance and confidence and all that. But this life has been very different because this life has been pushing you towards the opposite area of one-to-one connections, to focus more on coming to middle ground with others, finding mutual agreement, reciprocity, and not just relationally, but all in all, just to strive towards more balance in your life in general, but to bring things to that even keel. So this is where the push and pull has often been likely throughout your life. Self and other, independent life and relationship life. And either extreme has likely been unfulfilling, but as you've noticed with time going on, a balance between these two is the healthy, balanced path. And this is one where you're rooted in the independence, but not focused on it, not trying to discover more about yourself, not trying to become more confident, assertive, independent. This is all your natural birthright. This is what comes through naturally without you even having to think about it. So continue to be rooted in your autonomy, in your independence, in your sense of self. You don't need to put more effort into it, as that'll keep you stuck and stagnant, as we said before, because it's your past life. And let that be your soul nutrients with your roots there. Then continuing, as I'm sure you have, focus your attention on one-to-one, reciprocity, mutual agreement, all that good stuff, okay? And that should be what propels your life forward, especially those relationships with others that are not so much on them, on their self. I want to make sure it's clear that when we say one-to-one, I really mean one-to-one, both, not their self either, because that can pull you into your past life as well, any self-oriented stuff. So here, perhaps even helping others connect or form relationships or figure out their relationship life, be very fruitful for you as well. Okay, so effort there into the one-on-one world, both for yourself and others. All right, so I'm happy I was able to do a couple, especially for some birthdays that we just had. Yeah, let's go ahead and finish up here, just taking a look at the chat, answer a few more questions, and then we'll call it a day. Let me just see how many actually filtered in. Okay, so we're up to 29 viewers now. That's cool. Maybe we just had a bit of a late start. All right, so hi from Czech Republic, Blanca. Great to see you. First time here. Great to have you, Blanca. Thanks for joining. We're doing true sidereal astrology here, looking at the visible sky, and we just did some natal chart interpretations. Aya, so we'll have to save yours, Aya, because I'm going to go ahead and complete things. But let me just take a quick, all right, I'll do just a quick look. And you know the formula that we did there, right? And so it's going to be the same formula. I'll tell you the two areas. And again, everyone can do this with their own charts. Just identify the north and south nodes. And this will help you see really what really is the healthy path forward with your life as a whole or specific situations. All right, so Aya, we have the 21st of December, 1991 at 4:20 in the AM in Durban, South Africa. Okay, so yours is literally just swapped of what we just talked about for Christine. So you're coming from a past life that was very one-to-one oriented, maybe spouse, work where you dealt a lot with other people's needs, and this life is now more about focusing on your own needs and your own independence. So continue to be rooted in relationships, but the chart's saying you don't need to focus more on that stuff. It's your birthright, it should come through naturally, and that it's probably best to continue to focus on your autonomy, your independence, and helping others do the same. This is your north node in the first house. All right, so south node in the 7th in Gemini, north node in the 1st in Sagittarius. So just literally swap what we talked about with Christine there. All right, Anna, I dreamt 3 white male goats today, and I was taking a photo with them. Okay, wonder what that means symbolically. Well, goats is definitely Capricorn. Yeah. So I'm not too familiar with dream interpretation. I've always wanted to be. I always find it very fascinating. I even tried to find a book on dream interpretation, but wasn't able to find a good one. I would love a book that kind of like, it's almost like a dictionary where you can look up like goats, for example, and see what that represents, or what the color white means, or if there's male figures versus feminine figures, like something where you can just look up that key word and figure out what that means in a dream. I think that would be so cool. And maybe there is something like that. If anybody wants to, look that up, let me know in the chat. Let us all know in the chat. I'd be very interested. Willow Moon, hi, 24 July. Okay, so sorry, Willow. Just had time there for a few, but hopefully what we talked about with the general way of reading the nodes can really help you with that. Aya, could you expand on what being born with the sun on the galactic center at the end of a fucus means? Right, as you have here. and beginning of Sagittarius. What impact does that have on one's life? So your sun was just past the galactic center in Sagittarius, as everyone can see the sun here. The galactic center is at the end of this sign here, a fucus. And yeah, if we were to look at this visually, we would see that the sun is just past the very energetic galactic center. So this means that you're on the transformed side of it. So your life is still going to be about death and rebirth and personal transformation, but you're likely to gain a lot of wisdom and knowledge as a result of that. Your sun is definitely closer to Sag, just barely, but definitely closer to Sag. So you're viewing life through the lens of what can be learned, what can be expanded upon. It's basically like the butterfly that comes out of the cocoon. After we've gone through the deeper energy, it's transformed, right? It's got the higher view of life. It's a free spirit. This is what your life energy is helping you develop. And I would say especially so because the North Node's here. And I don't know if you were aware, but you were born not on a visible lunar eclipse, but just shortly before an astrological lunar eclipse. This is when the sun and moon are opposites next to the North and South nodes. So it's very energetic, very powerful, and it puts a lot of emphasis on the life path we talked about, as well as this transformative nature, but more in the realm of moving it into expanding your horizons and listening to your spirit and working with more of the wisdom and knowledge of this deeper stuff in life. Very powerful. Creative Guru. LOL, after menopause, I am my own heater. That's funny. Happy birthday, Margaret. Anna, thank you so much. Ari Gold, what's up, my people? Happy Sunday, family. Great to see you, Ari Gold. We're just wrapping up with some quick life path readings. Sorry I couldn't get to everybody's here today. Going to go through the chat, see if I can pick up some last minute questions, quick questions. Donna says, my chart is so greatly concentrated, it overlaps so much. It looks like the printer got stuck in one part and malfunctioned. Right on the 1st, 2nd, and 11th and 12th houses. What could this mean, Athen? So that's the left side of the chart. So typically we would say that this life is really about helping you develop that self. Left part of the chart is more about self-orientation. So 11th house would be your aspirations. The 12th house would be spiritual and soul development. The 1st house would be identity and self, and the 2nd house of self-reliance and even cultivating your own material resources. But as you can see, that's the self-oriented side of the chart. So that's where life is really helping you develop and grow. The fact that they're all together, really puts a lot of energy in that one direction. And suggests too, depending on where the North and South nodes are, that you do have a lot of support, a lot of planets actually working together in that single direction. So you can see it as perhaps easier in the sense that it keeps your life straightforward in terms of what's good to develop, but also perhaps challenging in that you're working with a lot of different energy, and there's a lot of blending of energy and blending of guidance, depending if it's the sun, moon, right? All this factors in, but a lot of blending of the personality, which can kind of convolute things and make things not as clear at times, okay? But nonetheless, very direct chart there. Oh, glad you liked it, Ari Gold. Thank you. Cool. Very happy to hear it was accurate. Thank you, Creative. You're welcome, Don't Watch. Thank you, Margaret, for the link to the chart calculator for those that want to see their chart. Yeah, so Amanda, I normally read the houses more in terms of the area of life, but I still factor in the signs and the rulers of those of the North and South nodes. But the houses are the most personal, because if you think about it, the signs is very collective. Like for Aya, everyone in 1991 and 1992 had the North Node in Sagittarius and the South Node in Gemini. So the houses is always the most personal. Don't Watch. Wow, you nailed it. Working hard to bridge the left and right brain. Very happy to hear. Don't Watch. Willow Moon. My chart seems really spaced out evenly. Is that why I'm so unfocused? Well, if it's spaced out It could mean that, but it means that there's a lot of different life energies that life's helping you develop. So it does spread the energy out and does make it a little more difficult in the sense that there's a lot of different things life wants you to develop. But that's how most charts generally are. Most charts are a bit more on the scattered side. So it really just depends on how spaced out your charts are, your planets are there. Hey, Frequency, great for you to join us. Happy Sunday. Holly, great to see you. All right, just wrapping up here. Galactic, I'm curious why you stopped doing new and full moons. Just because there's a lot of readings, and now I just do them in the weekly. So I sort of consolidated the weeklies. I used to do daily readings, which was very, very, I can't believe I did that. I think I did daily readings for like 8 years or something like that. So a lot of work every day to do dailies. But anyways, I consolidated them all in the weekly. Little better work-life balance, and it's still the same information. They're just in the same video. All right, everyone. Well, it's a pleasure. I hope you enjoyed today. It was just a kind of quick rundown on how I think is the most direct and easiest and helpful way to look at a chart. Honestly, if we're living in alignment with our life path, I think that's what really matters. That's what I help my clients with. That's what I really focus the bulk of my astrology practice on. So I hope it was helpful. Happy birthday to all of you who've just recently had yours or have it coming up, as there's quite a few here. But have a great one, everyone, and I'll see you all next time. Take care.